Hi mates, how's it going? In today's video, it's chapter 11 of The Last Guardian by Jeff Grubb. Once again, just a little disclaimer, this book came out in 2002, so there's a whole bunch of stuff about Garona being half human which is just not correct. She's actually half Draenei, but whatevs. Let's go! After his little argument with Medivh, Khadgar returned to the library to find Garona snooping around again, this time checking over Khadgar's various notes, and an immediate rage blossomed in his chest. But Khadgar then remembered what it felt like to be kicked in the balls, so he calmed down a little bit. What are you doing? Snooping. Spying. Garona then looked up at Khadgar and frowned. I'm just trying to understand what you're doing here. You left your notes out in the open. Hope this is alright with you. It is not alright with me, Khadgar thought, but he didn't say it. Lord Medivh has instructed me to extend to you every courtesy. However, he may take umbrage if in doing so I allow you to blow yourself up casting some ill-thought magical spell. I have no interest in magic. Famous last words. Is there something I can help you with, or are you just snooping in general? I was told you had a tome on Azeroth Kings. I'd like to consult it. I'm surprised you can read. Second row, fourth shelf up. It's a red-bound book with gold trim. Garona disappeared into the stacks, and Khadgar took the opportunity to gather up his notes. He'll have to keep them elsewhere now that the half-orc had free run of the place. At least he hadn't left order correspondence lying around, or the Song of Aegwynn. Might be worth moving that scroll as well though, just in case. Garona then returned and raised an eyebrow at Khadgar. Yeah, that's the one. Human languages are a bit wordy, only because we always have something to say. Khadgar then found himself wondering if orcs had books. Could they all read? He knew they had spellcasters, after that night he was nearly killed by one, but did that mean they had real knowledge? How were the balls? Never better. Garona then sat down and began to read the big book about kings, and Khadgar noted that she'd immediately turned towards the back of it, to the recent editions about King Lane's reign. So, you're an emissary. Garona nodded, but was still mostly concentrating on the book. Who are you emissarying for exactly? At that, Garona did look up, and Khadgar noted a flicker of irritation on her face. Good, he thought. I'm glad I'm bothering you. However, the young apprentice knew he didn't want to push too hard, otherwise he might piss Medivh off, or get another kick in the balls. I mean, if you're an emissary, that means someone's giving you orders. Someone you have to report back to. So who's that? I'm sure your master, the old man, would tell you if you asked. I'm sure he would, if I had the effrontery to ask him. So I ask you instead. Who do you represent? What powers have you been granted? Are you here to negotiate, or demand, or what? Garona then closed the book, and Khadgar felt a small sense of victory for distracting her from it. Do all humans think alike? It would be boring if we did. So not everyone agrees about everything. Do humans always agree to what their masters or superiors want? Hardly. One reason there's so many tomes in here is that everyone has an opinion. So understand that there's a difference of opinions among orcs as well. The Horde is made up of a number of clans, with their own chieftains and war leaders. All orcs belong to a clan. What are the clans? What are they called? Stormreaver's one, Blackrock, Twilight's Hammer, Bleeding Hollow. Those are the major ones. All sounds very aggressive. Our homeland is a harsh place. Only the strongest survive. The orcs are no more than what their land made them. Khadgar then thought back to the first vision he'd had in this tower. A red-skied wasteland. So that was the orc world, was it? But how did they get here? He wondered. How did I get there? But instead, he asked, what's your clan? I have no clan. You said all of your people belong to one. I said all orcs. Garona noted that Khadgar was looking at her blankly, as if to say, what's the difference? So she extended her hand. What do you see? Your hand. Human or orc? Orc. It was obvious. Green skin, sharp nails, big knuckles. Yet an orc would say it's a human hand. Too slender to be useful. Not enough muscle to hold an axe. Too pale. Too weak. Too ugly. You see the parts of me that are orcish. The orcs see the parts of me that are human. I'm both, and yet neither. Considered inferior by both sides. Khadgar opened his mouth to argue, but then thought better of it. He hadn't liked hearing it, but she wasn't wrong. Must be difficult. There's advantages. I can move between clans more easily. Disliked by all, so no one suspects me of being biased. Makes me a better negotiator. And yeah, before you say it, a better spy. Better to have no allegiance than conflicting ones. Khadgar thought back to the Kirin Tor and his conflicting allegiances.
So which clan do you represent at the moment? If I said Jizbla the Mighty, what would you say? Would that mean anything to you? It might. It shouldn't, because I just made that name up. The name of the faction that sent me here would mean nothing to you. Just as King Lane means nothing to the Orcs. Before we can have peace, before we can even start negotiations, we have to learn more about you. Which is why you're here. Exactly. So forgive me for praying that you'll leave me alone long enough for me to do that.
Garona then opened the book again, but Khadgar wasn't done. It goes both ways though. And Garona closed the book, with an exasperated breath.
I mean, we're going to need to know more about the Orcs as well, if you're serious about peace.
Garona glared at Khadgar, and the young apprentice felt the immediate need to shield his balls, but the half-orc's ears then perked up.
Hold on. What was that?
Khadgar then felt what Garona must have felt. A sudden change in the air. A wave of warmth passing through the tower, followed by the sounds of iron claws scraping against stone. And then, a giant beast slouched into the library.
Your manservant said there were visions here. Ghosts. Is this one?
Khadgar shook his head. Visions tended to encompass the entire area. The beast remained in the doorway, sniffing the air. Was it blind? Khadgar wasn't going to wait to find out.
Get to the high tower. We have to warn Medivh.
Garona nodded, and then slowly shifted to one side, and that slight movement was enough to cause all hell to break loose. The creature pounced in her direction, causing Khadgar to instinctively fire off a bolt of mystic energy towards the beast. The energy ripped through its chest, causing the demon to tumble a bit, but it was still very much alive and kicking.
Get Medivh! Go! But what if it wants me?
It doesn't. It kills mages.
But you...
Just go! However, Garona didn't go, which was annoying. I said go!
There's no time. You'll be ripped to pieces before I even make it up 2 flights of stairs.
Garona then pounced into action herself, pulling out a dagger, and Khadgar found himself slightly relieved as she began stabbing the beast, but also slightly suspicious as to why she had a dagger in the first place. But still, the demon remained standing, snapping its maw and doing demon things and stuff.
Run!
So Khadgar did. He ran like the wind. Didn't know where he was going, but he ran. But not really having a destination in mind resulted in him running down an aisle within the library that had no exit, and he was now trapped as the demon came bounding up behind him. However, a whole bunch of deep crashes then resounded, and Khadgar watched stunned as the demon was crushed by the domino effect of the library's bookshelves.
Khadgar, here. Did we get it?
Khadgar was still a little bit in shock by everything that had just happened, so he didn't respond. So Garona took a little look-see beneath the pile of bookshelves to see some green goo pooling on the floor, and a clawed outstretched hand poking out that wasn't moving at all.
Looks like we got it.
Why didn't you listen? You should have gone for Medivh.
Beast would have killed you.
Khadgar nodded, and then came to his senses.
The mages. Surely he heard all of this. Yeah, should have. We made enough noise to wake the dead.
Oh crap, what if there was more than one demon? Come on! So the two of them went rushing up the tower, only to find Medivh standing quite contently in his observatory. Oh, thank God. There's a demon in the tower.
Oh, not this again. Your student is correct. I was in the library with him when it attacked.
It was probably nothing more than a vision. They happen here. Morose warned you about them, yes? It wasn't a vision, Master. Something got past my wards. Ridiculous. No, none of the wards are even tripped. You're here. Cook's in the kitchen. Morose is in the hall outside the library. Nothing is amiss. Come with us, Master. Come and see. Must I? I have other things to worry about. Please.
We believe the beast is dead, and we don't want to risk the lives of your servants on our beliefs.
Ah, fine. As you wish. Upon returning to the library, they found Morose standing there, dustpan and broom in hand. He didn't look happy. Congratulations. I think it's a bigger mess now than when you first arrived. At least then I had shelving. Where is this supposed demon? Khadgar walked over to the spot where the demon had been crushed, but all that remained was the wreckage of the bookshelves and things. No outstretched clawed hand, no pool of green goo.
It was there. We both saw it.
You saw a vision. Morose, did you tell her about the visions?
Yep, I did.
And you wouldn't happen to have a demon corpse in that dustbin, would you?
Don't believe so. I can check for you.
No, Morose. Don't worry. Leave your tools for these two, good sir. In light of this, you two get to straighten up the library. Young Trust, you have betrayed your name.
But I saw...
You saw a phantom.
You saw a piece of somewhere else. Would not have harmed you. It never does. Your friend here tends to see demons where there are none. That worries me a bit. Perhaps you can try not to see any whilst you're cleaning up.
And with that, Medivh buggered off, and Morose laid his dustpan and broom on the floor, and also buggered off.
This was no illusion. I know. So why doesn't he see it? That I don't know. And I worry about finding out the answer.
And we're leaving it there! So yeah, if you read the World of Warcraft comics, there's a whole thing about how Gul'dan lied to Garona and told her she was half human, and then Murad kidnaps her and tells her she's not half human. None of that's canon though, which is a shame, because that would have explained nicely why she's talking about being half human in this book. But also I'm kind of glad, because if the comics were canon, then Medan would be canon, and ain't nobody got time for that. As usual, links in the description for the book, my Patreon page, my Discord, all of that stuff. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!